Mm, okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Online Presenters of Virtual Toastmasters Club. I'm Sergeant of Arms Sunny Fridge, aka Dr. Sunny. Guests, are you interested in becoming a member of our club? Well, it's really easy. If you want to become a member of our club or join us, you must be a current or former active member of Toastmasters International. You must also have completed at least 6 Toastmasters official speeches and demonstrate your abilities in a 2 to 3 minute speech delivered during one of our club meetings. Actually, you can do either one of those. Please note that all requests for membership are subject to the approval of our club members. If you have not already done so, please change your panel to ensure it displays your name and role. Hover over your video, right-click, and select Rename. Remember, please mute your microphone when you're not speaking. We have guests and members from many countries throughout the world. It's wonderful. We can definitely substantiate it. We have several from different countries right now. As a professional organization, we ask that you please be aware of language or word usage that may be considered offensive or otherwise insensitive due to cultural differences. Please note that we are recording this meeting. Your video and audio contribution may be used for club marketing purposes. And now, please help me welcome to the virtual stage our club president, Marianne Grady. Marianne, welcome.
Well, good evening, my friends. I'm so happy to see all of you tonight. Here we are, and Dr. Andrew Byrne has let us all know that it is National Crayon Day. So I hope that you have your best crayons out and you can take some notes tonight because I'm sure you're going to learn a lot. Now, Online Presenters is a Toastmaster club who serves those who give online presentations professionally or aspire to do so. Whether that means public webcasts, live video, internal video conferences, and screen sharing sessions. So if you do those things, you are in the right place. Tonight, we have 3 speeches, and I am one of the speakers. Now, I have not given a speech in about a year, so it's been quite some time. So I'm excited, I'm nervous, and I am really happy to be getting back in the game again. So have any of you not given a speech in a while? Because I would encourage you to get it out there and get it done because you don't want to start from scratch again like me. So get in there, give your speeches, and Joni will be very happy that we check off our projects. Tonight, I am going to introduce Andrei Smolenko, who will be our Toastmaster of the day. Now, he's always amazing, always interesting, and always a lot of fun. So please welcome Andrei.
Thank you very much, Marianne. Wow, after that introduction, I'll try to live up to it. And well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your Toastmaster of the evening. When I was preparing for tonight's evening, I just thought, well, what theme can we use? Right, Dr. Andrew Burns suggested to use National Crayons Day. And then I thought, right, that's a good idea. At the same time, I'm already in tomorrow comparing to many of you. And tomorrow, for many of you, is International Fool's Day. And then I looked at the agenda and I thought, right, we have another massive event called World Backup Day. So I thought we better spend a little bit of time on the important issue, on the backing up your data. I don't know how often you back up your data from your mobile phones, from your computers, from other devices and gadgets. I do it kind of regularly. It is part of my routine. However, According to the worldbackupday.com, 21% of people all around the world have never made a backup. So I would think, well, basically, I would think every fifth person. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's about 2 or 3 of us have never backed up the data, which is quite interesting. More than that, 29% of data losses cases are just caused by accident. So it just could happen by accident. We never mean that to happen, but it just does. And overall, 113 phones, mobile phones, lost or stolen every minute around the world. Just think about that. So why don't we just click and back up? By the way, you can probably see under my slide is worldbackupday.com. That website has lots useful information about how you can back up your data. And before we move on to the actual interesting parts of the meeting, I would like to introduce you the pledge. Sorry, hold on. Yes, the World Backup Day pledge. If you want, you can put hand on your heart, yeah, and raise your hand as well in the air and say, I solemnly swear to back up my important documents and precious memories today on March 31st. I solemnly swear, and I'll do it. Yeah, it's a good idea to pledge to do that. Well, bearing about backing up data and importance of it in mind, I would like to move on to the next exciting part of the meeting. As our club president Marianne mentioned, we have a jam-packed agenda, which consists of 3 prepared speeches. Then we have table topics and evaluation. So full on, I'm not going to waste much more time on backing up data. We know it's important. And I would like to introduce some of the people without whom this meeting would never, ever happen. Helpers, people who volunteered or been voluntold to do the roles so the meeting can run nice and smoothly. The first helper I would like to introduce is Dr. Andrew Byrne, who is our R counter. Dr. Byrne, please introduce yourself and tell us about your role.
Thank you very much, Andre. The role of the R counter is very, very important. I'm an active listener to see if anybody uses their pausing correctly or uses filler words like I know or so, or repeating words or backups. Those are also tracked and reported by me at the end of the meeting. I will substantiate any infraction made by any member during any part of the speaking roles that take place today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Byrne. And the second helper for the evening I would like to introduce is grammarian Carrie Kong. Carrie, please tell us about your role.
Thank you so much, Andrew. And today's word of the day is substantiate. I'm going to substantiate this words with substantiation of the evidence. So substantiate means you are going to establish by proof and complete evidence. So for this, I can give you an example of how we can use substantiate. So I just heard from Dr. Sunny was using this word, so congratulations for using this word. Like Mr. Byrne substantiated his claim to local mountaineering fame with a photo of himself in the summit of Mount McKinney. So by using a photo, he substantiated he actually really went to the mountain. So hopefully everyone can substantiate your thought by evidence. So in this role of grammarian, I'm going to help you improve your vocabulary, grammar, and by use critical listening skills, but also I'm going to pick up some of the good words, languages, grammar usages from all the people over here. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, Kerry. Wow, that was substantiative. Can I say that? Well, that was really great introduction. Thank you. And the next helper I would like to introduce is our watcher, quite unique for online presenters, I would say. Watcher Alison Blakeman. Please tell us about your role.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day. So my job as the watcher for today's meeting is I will be watching everyone's appearance on cam, not only the speaker, but also the viewers, because as an online presenter, our presence online, how we appear on webcam, can substantiate and make an impact of our presentation and our appearance on the meeting. So I will be watching everyone as the speakers speak and provide feedback. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, Alison, for that introduction. And the next important person I would like to introduce, without whom this virtual online presenters meeting would be impossible, is our chat monitor, Johnny Laidlaw. Johnny, tell us about your role. Are you on mute, Johnny?
Okay, thank you to our Toastmaster of the Day. Being online, there's a lot that's going on, and sometimes you might miss what's happening in the chat. As the chat monitor, it will be my duty today to remind everyone what's happening in the chat. Now, in some cases, a speaker might want to make reference to the chat or what's happening, or I might be able to say, if you look in the chat, there's already great discussions about substantiate and also about a world traveler. So remember, look in the chat. I'll give my report. I'm called upon to do so. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Johnny, for that introduction. And I think we have one more very important person without whom, again, this meeting, virtual meeting, would be literally impossible. I'm talking about Volt Counter and Timer. This person is doing double duty tonight, and it's my privilege to introduce David Carr. Please tell us about your double duty today.
Yes, whenever we have something to be timed, I will time it. You will see the colors in my background at the appropriate intervals, so that for table topics will be 1 minute green, 1.5 yellow, 2 red, and then for the speakers, it will be the speaking intervals, usually 5 to 7. I haven't checked the agenda to see if anybody is over 5 to 7 today. So give me a warning in the chat if that's an issue. I will also be functioning as the vote counter. And I would encourage those of you who have gone to the trouble of downloading the mobile app to attempt to vote using the app. I'll also be posting a link. The guests can use the link, or anybody who doesn't have the app can use the link, or anybody who just finds it more convenient can use the web link as well. While I'm giving a quick commercial for the app, let me just mention that if you look down the bottom, you should see a message that will either say you have the latest version, or it will say that you need to upgrade. And if you don't see that notice, then you don't have the latest version. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, David. David, may I make a suggestion for you to raise your virtual hands? So as a timer, you will appear in the top left corner. It's a note for the speaker, table topics participants and evaluators. When you want to know how much time you have left, please look in the top left corner and you will see our timer giving you directions. Right there. Right. So now we're done with introductions and we go into the part of the evening with prepared speeches. We have three prepared speeches today. And the first speech is a note to our timer. It's the icebreaker for our club president, Marian Grady. She's doing a new pathway, and she should be timed at 4 to 6 minutes, please.
Actually, I'm doing 5 to 7, please.
5 to 7. Okay, my apologies. So
Yep.
so it is 5 to 7 minutes. And in her speech from Dynamic Leadership, Level 1, Mastering Fundamentals, Marianne will be speaking about that. As our club president, she had a heart attack on September the 30th, 2024. Tonight, she will share her story and the lessons she learned through her recovery. Kindly welcome Marianne Grady with her speech titled September 30th, 2024.
September 30th, 2024 is a day that I will never forget. It was the day that I almost lost my life. It was the day that I had a massive heart attack. It started like any other day. I got up early, I went to the Y, took my water aerobics class, and went home. I made myself a nice cup of coffee and was ready to go outside and enjoy it. But something didn't feel right. I called my husband, and he quickly came, and he was walking me back to my bed, and all of a sudden, I just collapsed on the floor. He immediately called 911, and the medics arrived in minutes and began working on me. They reported that I was indeed having a heart attack. I was loaded into an ambulance and taken to a hospital with a specialized cardiac care unit. I had what they call a SCAD, a spontaneous coronary artery dissection. And this happens when the layers of the artery tear apart unexpectedly and block the blood flow to your heart. I also had AFib, which is an irregular heartbeat, and soon my organs began to shut down one by one. In the hospital, the doctors worked with great skill. They started getting my organs working again, and they restarted my heart. Unfortunately, my transplanted kidney did not recover at that time. I was intubated, and to protect my brain from the trauma of the heart attack, they put me in a medically induced coma for 2 weeks. Now, this was awful for my family as they sat in the room and just watched and waited for me to open my eyes and wake up from this nightmare. While I was unconscious, they gave me heavy drugs that caused hallucinations. I imagined that the doctors and nurses were trying to hurt me. I thought my husband abandoned me in New Jersey with no money or ID. I even thought I got shot. When I woke up, I was confused, I was angry, and I lashed out at everybody. I didn't even know that 2 weeks had gone by. For me, time just stood still. With the help of my nurse, I was able to piece together what had happened. And she let me know that my husband indeed was by my side the whole time. He has been my rock, my amazing caretaker, and he continues to cater to my needs. Now, I have to say, this man has lived up to his wedding vows. Better, worse, sickness, health, he has seen it all. I was in the hospital for 35 days. I had home health care after that, and I had to go for dialysis treatments 3 times a week. During this time, I learned a few things. The first thing, and you're going to know this one, life is fragile and things can change just like that. And for me, they did. I was exercising 5 to 6 times a week. I felt strong, but it still happened. So no matter how you're feeling, make sure that you let your loved ones know how important they are to you, because they are your lifelines. Second, Faith is vital. Now, let's face it, it's pretty easy to be faithful when everything is going smooth in your life. In this crisis, I had to surrender to God's will. I adopted the mantra, all is well. And this allowed me to focus on healing instead of all the what ifs that were going through my mind. And the final thing is choose positivity. I like to think I'm a positive person, but really recovery is super hard. I found myself in despair on many days. I told myself, do not dwell in the dark place for very long. For me, looking forward with optimism is the key for my best life. Now, here we are 6 months and a day after September 30th. I am so happy to report to you that right before Christmas, I got a message from my doctor and he said, your kidney woke up. It's starting to work. No more dialysis. For me, it's a Christmas miracle. I was so happy when this happened. In physical therapy, I went from being in a wheelchair to using a walker to using a cane to now I am walking unassisted and I'm thrilled. It has been an amazing journey. I'm sorry. Oh. It has been an amazing journey. Now, my wish for you is that you live your best life and that you really appreciate all the blessings in your life, that you lean on your faith when you need to, and that you choose positivity because we all have problems. So if we have a good attitude about those problems, we'll get stronger and we will overcome them. My heart attack changed me profoundly. I was lifted up in prayer and I received messages of love and encouragement from all around the world. It was both amazing and overwhelming at the same time. Now, in closing, I would like to let you know that heart attack and all, I think my life is a beautiful journey. And when you face the challenges in your life, I hope that you can be positive and truly enjoy your journey. Mr. Toastmaster.
Marianne, thank you very much. If I need to take one takeaway from this speech is have a good partner or husband to wife, and 2, positivity is something that you are truly inspiring us to do in life. Choose positivity over negative attitude. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And now we are going to our second speaker. Second speaker for today, a note for the timer, usual time frame 5 to 7 minutes. And the second speaker is Christine Staple-Embanks. She is doing speech from Presentation Mastery, Level 1, Mastering Fundamentals. Her project is Writing a Speech with Purpose. The title of Christine's speech is The Gift of Truly Seeing. The Gift of Truly Seeing. Christine Staple-Embanks.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day. Marianne, I have to just kind of calm down right now from that speech. What if I told you that the greatest gift you could give to someone isn't your time, isn't your money, or isn't your presence, but is a gift of truly seeing them? Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. My name is Christine Staple-Embanks. I'm an author, social advocate, and I just love people. Tonight, I want to share a moment that truly transformed my life and helped me to understand the value of truly seeing someone. As a mother, we're told that we should see possibilities in our children. We should see hope, dream big dreams for them. But when my son Nathan was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, my vision was narrowed. Medical reports, clinical visits, very sterile environment, all of that changed my focus from seeing this child with a possibility to seeing this child with a disability. Every part of our lives became very clinical. Every toy had to have a developmental focus. Every game that we play had to be working on some milestone. And after a while, the avalanche of everything that was occurring masked the child beneath. One day, a friend of mine called me up to check on Nathan. And in her usual cheery self, she said, "Hey, Christine, how is Nathan doing?" Immediately, I launched into the what's missing, the missed milestone, the can't find therapy, the worry, the fear. After a while, she stopped me mid-track. In Jamaica, we call that cry cree. She just stopped me. She said, hold up. I am asking about Nathan, not his diagnosis. She asked, what was he doing when you left home? What does he like to eat? What's his favorite color, his favorite toy? What does he like to do with you, with his siblings, with dad? I was silent because the truth was, I just didn't know. Then she said something that shook me to the core. She said, "Lady, have you met your child? Do you know that the eyes are the windows to the soul?" She said, "Go home, go look in your son's eye, go meet your son." When I got home that day, Nathan was perched in his oversized wheelchair, watching his favorite show. Now, normally he doesn't break from task, but on that day, it was as if he suspected or expected that something different was going to happen. Because when I said to him, "Nathan, I need to do something with you," Nathan allowed me to move him without fuss. So I turned off the TV, I turned him to face me, and I sat before him. And I cupped his little face in my hands and I started staring into his eyes. Now, cerebral palsy is a movement disorder and it causes writhing, continuous movement. But in that moment, Nathan was quiet. He was waiting. He was expecting. I am not sure how long we looked into each other's eyes when all of a sudden his spirit jumped out at me, and it was beautiful, it was bright, it was bold, and it was whole. There was nothing disabled about his spirit. In that moment, I began to notice the beautiful features of my son. I saw his beautifully arched eyebrow, his enviously long, silky eyelashes. I saw the twinkle in his eyes. And as if on cue, we both burst out into laughter. And through my tears, I said, "Hi, honey, I'm your mom." Nathan laughed even louder, and he looked at me as if to say, "Are you just figuring that out?" That was the moment and the day I met my son. He was 2.5 years old. Helen Keller says, the only thing worse than being blind is having sight, but no vision. I love my child, but with everything that was given about the disability, I lost sight of him for a while. But that moment opened my heart in profound ways and taught me 3 lessons that continue to live in what I like to call the everydayness of life today. Lesson number 1, seeing someone is a choice. As we go about our lives, it's easy to focus on what's missing. And in doing so, we lose sight of the person right before us. Just as it took a conscious shift for me to look beyond my son's diagnosis and truly meet him, I learned that truly seeing someone requires intention. We must deliberately choose to look past appearances, limitations, or abilities or labels in order to connect with the real person, their spirit, their essence. Lesson number 2, seeing someone requires pause. Life moves fast, And it's easy to rush through moments without truly engaging. But real connection lives in the pause. That day, when I was finally still with my son, I discovered that it wasn't the quantity of my presence that he required, it was a quality of my presence that allowed me to truly connect with him. Lesson number 3. Everyone deserves to be seen. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to overlook those who can't offer us anything. But at our core, every person, regardless of ability, longs to be acknowledged. Because when we truly see someone, we say to them, I see you, you matter. The moment with my son changed my life forever. Maya Angelou once said, people will forget what you said, forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. That day, I truly saw Nathan. He felt it, I felt it, and our relationship changed. So in closing, I ask you, who in your life needs to be seen? Not for what they do, but for who they truly are. Because I believe that the greatest gift we can give to someone is a gift of truly seeing them. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Christine, thank you very much for sharing the gift of truly seeing, the gift that you have now, and it will never leave you. Thank you for sharing that gift with us.
Thank you.
I felt it all the way throughout your speech. And the third speaker for tonight, I have a pleasure to introduce is Johnny Rennie Laidlaw. Johnny will be speaking from Presentation Mastery, Level 1, Mastering Fundamentals. And this is her second speech. She delivered her first speech, has taken on board our recommendations that have been given. And in this speech, she will incorporate those recommendations such as suggestions to include a better vocal variety and to find a way to identify their characters better. Also, she will include suggestion to introduce the main points earlier in the speech. Let me introduce Johnny Laidlaw with her speech titled Different Shoes. Johnny Laidlaw, Different Shoes.
Do I go after 2 such spectacular speeches? Okay, I'll try. I'm sorry, today was really hectic and the car broke down and I couldn't get everything done. Please just give me a chance. I have no way to substantiate what you just said. Listen, you need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. A story is told of a nurse that went into work one day and was speaking to her matron. While she was there, she used the phrase, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Now, we're an international club, so I know we've heard different idioms, and this may be one of them. Now, I need you to substantiate this for me by dropping in the chat phrases like that that you have in your culture. I'll give you an example. The blood is thicker than water. Here, it means that your family is more important than your friends, but the actual full phrase is the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. That means something completely different, right? So I'm going to ask you, put in the chat any of these little phrases, these idioms that you grew up with that you may have thought it meant one thing, but growing up or doing research or being exposed to international audiences, you realize that what it meant in your neck of the woods, it didn't actually mean where you came from and you've always had the wrong perception. Beep, 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 beep. Oh my God. What's happening? The heart monitor in another room went off. It started to go crazy, so she ran in there. In there was a miner. He had worked in the coal mines his entire life. He said to her, I have worked in the mines my entire life, and I detest when people use that phrase. Sit with me for a while. Now, this nurse was in her feelings. She was contemplating exactly what was happening, heartbroken, disheveled, and sad. So she gladly took the time to sit to listen to what this miner had to say. Do you know that in the mines, when we use that phrase, it's because we're telling people there is nothing we can do for you. You're going to die. Your only hope is to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You know, that's exactly how I felt when she said it. The nurse responded to him because she was brokenhearted. That's how she felt, hearing her matron tell her that she had to pull herself up by her bootstraps. Now, the intention was actually for her to be encouraged to do better. But in her heart took the meaning as exactly what the phrase meant when used under a mining context. We all have different idioms and phrases and things that we say as people that we've come to just associate with a part of our existence. But how can you show empathy? How can you care about others if we all wear different shoes? Think about it. I'm in Jamaica and I love me some flip-flops, but there are people who might be high heels. We all wear a different size of shoes. So not only do we have different sized feet, different circumstances that we find ourselves in, but our style varies based on socialization, where we're from, and what we've substantiated to be our version of existence and that truth. Now, it's always important to try to put yourself in the shoes of others. Now, for all of us who don't remember when we were tiny like I do, but we've been parents, we've seen our children put their feet in our shoes. It was never the same size, but they walked around in it awkwardly, pretending to be you. Does wearing your shoes make you that person? No, but it helps you to understand where they're coming from. It adds some context to your existence and to what's being said. We all wear different shoes. We all have different sizes, styles, shapes, and things that we like about our shoes. But when we're gonna judge the shoes of others, if we've never walked a mile in those shoes, there's another idiom. But if you've never been able to fit into or even share the style of somebody else, it's not fair for you to state that if I were you, this would be the appropriate way. It's always important to learn context. And if we ever forget at any time how that works, just remember that nurse sitting heartbroken, being reassured by a miner what it means when someone says, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Back to you, Toastmasters today.
pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Thank you very much, Johnny. I've heard your first speech, and now it's the second speech with even much more powerful message. It's something that I'm going to take away with me tonight. So thank you for delivering that again. Thanks. And with Johnny's speech, this concludes the first part of tonight's meeting. We've heard and we watched three amazing speakers competing. Yes, you heard me right. Competing with each other for the privilege to be nominated for the best speaker. And how they're going to do it, we're going to find out in a minute. First, I would like to ask the timers report. David, are all speakers qualified for voting?
All speakers are qualified for voting. The actual speech times are in the chat, and a link to vote is also in the chat.
Brilliant. Thank you, Mr. Timer. I would like to encourage all members and guests place your votes. I don't see, yes, I can see the link to the voting tool. So please click on that link and vote. I know it's hard. I feel it's hard. My mind is already mumbling up, but we need to pick one speaker for today. So please do it now. And whilst you're doing that, I would like to introduce Jim Barber, our table topics master for today, who will take over with, in my view, extremely useful and interesting parts of the evening table topics. After Jim Barber's part, we will be watching evaluations. We have three evaluators who will give evaluations to the three speakers. And then to wrap up the meeting, the general evaluator will let all the helpers, without whom this meeting is virtually impossible, to speak and conclude this evening. So, Mr. Table Topics Master, please take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, my fellow Toastmasters. Since we seem to have two different themes tonight, backup data day and National Crayon Day, I'm going to incorporate both of those into my table topics questions this evening, morning, afternoon, or whatever it happens to be for your particular time zone. However, before I do that, I would remind everyone that the timing for table topics is 1 to 2 minutes. Please keep your time within that. Keep an eye on the timing square up there. That is David is doing. And also, please remember to substantiate your opinions that you give by providing facts. All right, let's get started. Let's do a backup question. If you could, the whole purpose behind backing up, of course, is to, if necessary, review or renew or restore whatever it is that you have backed up because you lost it or damaged it or something like that. So if you could review or relive one day in your life or one event in your life, what would it be? Dr. Sunny.
Repeat the question.
Sure. If you could review or relive one day in your life or one event in your life, what would it be?
One day that I would love to relive was a happy time going to Disney World with my family. And the reason why I say that is I made a decision to move to Mississippi early in my life when I was an aspiring reporter. But that decision took me away from my family in New York. And I really never got a chance to see my nieces and nephews grow up. But one year I got invited to be the babysitter at Disney World for my sister and brother-in-law's two kids. So through the eyes of Tiana and Travell, I got the chance to relive what Travell called, "This is the best day of my life." And he was probably about 6 years old, but he was watching the parade that comes down the street with all the Disney World characters and all sorts of costumes and fun times. And I always remember that, how he just really enjoyed himself. He's not the same now that he's 26. He's a little more mellow, but that's the Travell that I love to remember. And Tiana was the big, bossy younger sister, but she also enjoyed just being a princess and just getting treated like royalty. And the only thing they got mad at me about was the fact that, well, I had a new hairdo and I was not going to save them if they jumped in the pool. So I told them that they couldn't go in the pool. And that's one memory they'll never let me forget, that's backed up in their minds as well. So I'm always trying to make up for that faux pas. But other than that, I would say that the trip was beautiful, and my sister and her hubby at the time got some together time. So if I could back up a time in my life, it would be Disney World. Back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Sunny. All right. Okay, let's go with a crayon question. What sort of person are you? Are you a color inside the lines, color outside the lines, or to heck with the lines? What sort of person are you? And let's go with the person who was flaunting Mickey Mouse a few moments ago, Dr. Andy.
Thank you very much, Jim. The question specifically is, am I in the color lines or outside the color lines kind of
That's
person?
it. Yep.
I would have to say that I'm outside the color lines type of a person. In fact, I've been described as a synthetic thinker. Now, some people would be scratching their heads and saying, what is a synthetic thinker? Someone who literally thinks outside of the box all the time. Here's an example of a synthetic thinker. There was a problem that Lay's potato chips had. They wanted to create Pringles, and they couldn't figure out how to get the potato chips in the box without breaking all the chips. They got together a synthetic group. A synthetic group is a group of individuals that have nothing in common. They're all different perspectives and are shown the same problem. You had engineers, you had high educated people, and finally, someone raised their hand in the back and they said, I know the answer to your problem. It's very simple. And we looked at him and said, are you a food engineer? He said, no, I'm a New York City sanitation worker. Because we deal with this every spring and fall. All the leaves fall off the trees, and we have to get all those leaves into our bags in a confined space. And we learned with a certain amount of water and pressure and the way we do it, we're able to compact all the leaves and make it work. And they said, could it be that simple? They did it and they flipped out because it worked. That's synthetic thinking, thinking outside the box, and listening to others who may have a different perspective.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Andy. Appreciate that. All right. Back to a backup question. Kai, you're a guest, so that means that you aren't automatically called on, but you're given the option. Would you like to participate in table topics this evening?
Yeah, yes, I would love to.
Okay, you guess you would love to. I'll take that as a positive. Okay, sure. Okay, let's do this. We think of backing up in terms of backing up disk files or backing up disk files that photos of disk files rather of photos. And it's a rather mundane, ordinary experience. But if you think about it, 100 years ago, the ability to back up a document or something like that would have been a miracle. So who knows what 100 years from now we might be capable of backing up. So the question to you, Kai, is using your imagination, what would you like to have the ability to back up so that you could retrieve it sometime later? And why?
Well, I would actually say it's all the positive memories that we have, because a lot of time we experience so many things, but there are so many micro memories out there in the moment that we perhaps have forgotten, and these are very, very precious moments. For example, I was actually doing a trip and was in China, and I was having this very beautiful conversation with a friend, and it was such a memorable day, a memorable conversation, and I actually call it the two black umbrella period, because we were there, and we actually put two black umbrellas because it was raining, and we were the first two customers, and we had such a good conversation that and throughout the period there were so many new umbrellas that were there because it was raining very heavily. But by the time we left, there were only two umbrellas because we were the last two people who were there. But it was such a precious memory. I had such good conversation with that friend, and we talked about so many things about our life, about our values, and about our beliefs. And at that point, it was such a great memory. But 1 month later, it was just 1 month later, I totally forgot about it, and until I took out my journal and I start flipping through my journal. It's a very brick and mortar way, my journal. And I realized that, oh, this micro memory or this memory actually happened. So, I mean, the reason why I'm sharing this really is because the question was what I would really like to remember. And I think it's all these positive memories, big or small. And therefore, I continue to journal either digitally or physically through paper and pen to recapture or to capture these precious memories. Yeah, that's what I would do and what I would like to do.
Great. Thank you, Kai. I agree completely. I agree completely. My memory is not as good as it used to be, and I really, really wish that I had excuse me, that I had a backup capability so that I could rely on backing up any and accessing any of my memories just as easily as I can back up and access any of my old disk files. I agree completely. Thank you. All right. Let's go back to a crayon question. I think everybody gets exposed to crayons at a very early age as one of the first, if not the first, art medium. But crayons, of course, aren't the only way that you can create art. What is your preferred art medium that you would like to work in, whether you've done it or not, what would you like to do artwork in? Carrie Kong.
Hi, everyone. Crayons is definitely my childhood memory, but I didn't use crayons because I used something more than that. Watercolors are my favorite. It was so simple because I love splashing it all over the paper. It was so simple because I can be creative. So when I was a child, I was trying to draw all kinds of different things that can illustrate my world. It could be the mountains, it could be the skies, it could be my parents, and it could be my friends. So I use different watercolors and mix it up all together to make it a colorful portraits about those mountains, about the things that I saw, and also about the people that I saw because I have great memories with them. And most of all, I really enjoy those color mix-up all together. It could be red, it could be pink, it could be green, it could be anything. It was a colorful mind, a colorful way to substantiate my life to the next more colorful piece of my life. And right now, when I'm growing up, you know what? My drawing ability is so terrible. I couldn't even use watercolors, not to mention crayons. So maybe now in the future, in the next a month or two, I will consider picking up back some drawing skills. Maybe crayons are the easy way to start with. I think for everyone, the lesson to learn is draw your life, use creativity, and think about the people, think about the sky, think about the nature, and combine all of these together, and this will be your colorful life. Back to you, Toastmaster stream.
Thank you, Carrie. I agree. I agree completely. All right, let's see. It is 8:41. That's getting awful close to the end of the time. Rather than taking a chance on going over, I think I will call it quits at this point. Mr. Timer, would you please indicate how our table topics participants did timing wise, and consequently we will then vote accordingly. And while you are doing that, I will return control to our Toastmaster of the day, Andres Malenko. Andre.
Thank you very much, Mr. Table Topics Master. What an insightful and mixed of both days. Well, I really enjoyed them table topics. Thank you. And I'm glad all participants qualified for voting. So please do that. And we're moving on to the third and another exciting part of the evening, evaluation section. And the evaluation section tonight will be led by General Evaluator Kirtika. Kirtika, please take it away.
Thank you, Toastmaster Andre. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Today, I'm the General Evaluator for today's Toastmasters meeting. As a General Evaluator, I'll be assessing the overall presentation of the meeting, evaluating each of the role takers, with substantiating my report based on the several other role takers who are going to assess me, namely the timer, watcher, our counter, and the chat monitor. And most importantly, I left the grammarian. Yes, here we are. As a general evaluator, what is expected is to give away what the meeting or the theme of the meeting is to be reciprocated along with the meeting, chorusing with the members and the club so that we have a correlated approach, a collaborative way of getting us to end this meeting. So let's get on to the first evaluation section, this prepared speech evaluation. We had 3 wonderful speakers today, and I would like to call upon the respective evaluators to evaluate them. And I will also like to call upon your evaluation, your perspective about the evaluators as well as about the speakers by the end of the evaluation so that you can vote for them, which will be posted in the chat. The first speaker for today is Marianne Grady, our president, our wonderful woman who has inspired us with our icebreaker speech in her dynamic leadership level 1, mastering the fundamentals. And the evaluator for her speech is Alien Blakeson. Alien Blakeson, the virtual stage is all yours.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Marianne, wow. You couldn't tell me that you haven't spoke and given a speech in a year. You were phenomenal. That speech, by giving that speech, you've substantiated your message and touched each and every one of us with your story. What's interesting is you're going through the pathway of dynamic leadership. And I hope everyone picked up on this, because your speech was so amazing that you gave us a speech about leadership in certain points of view and certain aspects. And it all rolled right into leadership. Your positivity glows and stands out. I applaud you for that. And one thing that I love about Toastmasters, and I found, and in my personal experience, and I'm sure in everyone else's personal experience with Toastmasters, when we give a speech, if it's something that we're trying to write from a different point of view, we sometimes struggle with it. But the best speeches are true life experiences. Everyone here tonight spoke on the true life experiences and spoke from the heart. I mean, oh my gosh, the theme, all three speakers' themes tied together. Marianne, you did such an incredible job. You gave us 3 points. Life is fragile. And when you spoke about life is fragile, you put a call to action right there in that first bullet point. And then when you talked about faith is vital. And then the third item, the third bullet point you used was choose positivity. That's where your leadership shone, Marianne. And that right there is where I want to focus on, because your positivity and your mindset changed your life. You could have had a negative mindset and said, oh, woe is me. This is hard. I'm struggling. This is hard. What you went through, I didn't know all of that. And I'm sure the audience didn't either. That's where I want to offer some recommendations. I don't have any negative things to say. I just have some positives that could help you. I noticed maybe you were a little nervous, and I get that myself. I could sense just a little bit of nervousness, but that's okay. Because if a speaker is too polished, it seems fake. And I love the nervousness. You did an amazing job with your vocal variety. I loved your use of hand gestures. One thing I would challenge you to do is talk about the dark times. Talk about the struggles, because that's what we all as humans relate to, is we all go through that hard period. That's where, Marianne, your leadership will shine, because you are a living example of going through a hard time and coming out on the other side. You've inspired me today, Marianne. I'm going to end it right there. Thank you for sharing that story.
Thank you, Alison Blackman. Dear Toastmaster, you nailed it. Okay. Though it's going to be a world's backup day, though we have Zoom backup, we are live. We have a live evaluator to evaluate our second speaker. Our second speaker is Christine Stable Evans. Her project is Writing with a Purpose, and her title of the speech is The Gift of Truly It Takes. We have Graham Cranes to evaluate her speech. Graham Cranes, the virtual stage is all yours. Please take over.
General Evaluator, Toastmasters friends, particularly, of course, Christine. The purpose of this speech was, and this is an interesting thing, Christine didn't actually outline what she wanted for the purpose of her speech. So I have allocated as my assumption that the purpose of the speech was to use a personal story to encourage the audience to truly see people rather than just see their superficialities. And if that was the purpose of the speech, and that's what I've allocated, then this met the objective perfectly. So really well done. Thank you, Christine, for an excellent presentation. Some of the gestures, some of the vocal variety that Christine used, I have marked as exemplary. And I don't often mark somebody as exemplary, but I genuinely believed that the vocal variety, the language, the gestures were near perfect pretty much all the way through. So well done on that. The language was really well chosen. Our words, our engaging presence can quietly but powerfully change lives. There was a phrase that struck with me, or somewhere along the way I'd forgotten that connection begins with intention, that seeing isn't just about presence, it's about attention, and that when we truly see someone, we tell them they matter. There's a phrase that will stick with me. So well done on the use of language. I will say that there were few signs of nerves, but in the second act of your speech, if you like, you began looking down. And I wasn't certain at first whether that was nervousness or whether you were reading. And then I realized that in fact that is what it was, that you were reading, although you didn't need it, you knew the words, you knew where you were going, but you kept glancing down and reading as if you needed it, but you didn't. If you're going to use notes in that way, can I suggest that you do what I have done and you stick the notes at the top of the screen so they're right next to your camera so that you can read the notes and it looks like you're looking at the camera even if you're reading the notes, which is what I'm doing at the moment. The other option, and if you're going to be doing this online a lot, and I suspect you will, then invest in a relatively inexpensive teleprompter. That puts the text behind the camera. You can read what you need to and you're still looking at the camera. Now, the fact that my glasses are reflecting probably doesn't help. I know I need to get anti-reflective glasses. You don't have that problem. But if you're going to use notes the way that you did today, try and figure out a way to make the notes be right next to the camera so that you keep eye contact. And finally, the last thing that you said at the end of your speech was, thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Now, I'm not saying you should never thank the audience. That's one of those Toastmaster rules that just doesn't make sense. But if you are going to thank the audience, make it deliberate. Thank you for allowing me to tell this personal story, and I hope that it's been able to make an impact in your life, Mr. Toastmaster. That way you're thanking the audience for their attention, which is your intent, but you're not using it as a throwaway. So either don't thank or make it deliberate, and there's nothing wrong with either of those. And one last thing I will say, and I know I've got a red light, an expanded version of this would make an absolutely riveting TEDx talk, and I'd really like to see that from you. Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Graham. Yes, your evaluation is truly inspiring, and I believe the speaker will take a lot of inputs from your evaluation. Okay, moving again to the last speaker of today. Our last speaker is Joni Rennie Laylaw. Her evaluator is Azail Bouziam. Her project is Presentation Mastery Level 1, and the title is Different Shoes. She is supposed to incorporate the feedback and suggestion from her last speech. So let's without ado, let's welcome the third evaluator, Azail, to the virtual stage. Azail, the virtual stage is all yours. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters. Johnny, thank you so much for your speech, Different Shoes, and I truly enjoyed. This was your second speech in the evaluation and feedback project, and your goal to apply feedback, previous feedback to your current speech. You definitely met the purpose. You brought in vocal variety with sounds like beep, 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 and softened your tone to portray the nurse, and you changed the positions, and this shift different substantiated the characters and made the scenes easy to follow. Your use of rich language and idioms added color, and your interaction asking us to participate in the chat was also great tool of delivering effective speech. This is more a reminder than a recommendation. I had set up your the speaker view in advance in order to see you clearly, but your screen, the word of the day was it came up. So while I was trying to pin your video, your screen, I got a bit distracted. So I ended up missing your opening. So just keep in mind to maybe use that screen as your main screen when you are speaking. Also, this is just a reminder to all of us, when we try to shout, Zoom tends to absorb our voice, loud voice, and it comes like muffled. Overall, it was a great speech. I always enjoy your energy, your confidence, your clear voice. It's easy to follow. One recommendation, that you tend to stay on one tone most of the time. So try again to play with the volume and tone for your next speech. I also loved how you finished your speech. Pull yourself up by your boot steps. I had to look up, overcome a difficult situation on your own. And your spirit really showed that spirit. So thank you so much for your speech. I truly enjoyed. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Evaluator Asael Bozan. I'm sure I am pronouncing your name wrong. Please correct me if that is the case. Okay. We had a wonderful prepared speech and the evaluation completed. Let's begin our next part of evaluation. Who would be assisting me to give a fair report by the end of this meeting? For this, first, I would like to call upon our watcher. Watcher for today is Alison Blakeman. Alison Blakeman.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. So the watcher job for me is a little easy, but however, doing dual roles as an evaluator, I had to look down and make notes. So I was probably a little distracting to others. And then in the States here where I'm at, the pollen level's a little high. So I've had to turn my cam off really quick and then back on. But other than that, I love seeing all the beautiful faces in the background. And I especially loved our timer, David Carr's use of those extremely colorful backgrounds and to show us where we were at, red, green, and yellow. Love everyone's beautiful backgrounds. Everyone looks beautiful as always. And that is all I really have, Madam General Evaluator. Great job, everyone.
Thank you, Toastmaster Alison Blakeman. Before we get into our next support role taker, your voting is on the chat. Your time starts now. Please start voting for the best evaluator and for the best speaker. Yes. Now again, back to the evaluation section. I would like to call upon our next evaluator as the chat monitor, who is monitoring our chat all through the meeting. Chat monitor for today is Joni Laidlaw. Joni Laidlaw, the virtual stage is yours.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. I can substantiate that we did utilize the chat a lot for today's meeting. Again, the word of the day can be located there, as well as a few tips and pictures to brighten our chat. The only suggestion that I would have for you is hit the 3 dots, save the chat in case you scroll past some information that you would need in the future. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Joni Laidlaw. Yes. Though we have wonderful chat going on and wonderful meeting which is carried out in this particular session, we still have many role takers who are supposed to give their report. And in this aspect, one important role taker is our R counter. Our R counter for today is our guest, Kai. Our R counter, Toastmaster Kai, over to you.
Yes. So as I was actually doing the R counter, I think most of the people actually did it pretty well in that there isn't that many of the R's and and whatnot in today's session. So round of applause to everyone. Yeah, so yeah, so thanks everyone for joining and for giving such wonderful speeches today.
Madam General Evaluator, may I remind you that the our counter role for today was done by Dr. Andrew Byrne. Perhaps you would like to call him up on the stage.
I'll be happy to share that with you if you'd like. We had a number, everyone did a really good job. I mean, it was really had to think deeply about stuff. We did have a number of people towards the end of their speeches were getting a little bit flustered and repeating over with a start and stop. So there were a few people that had done that. But we also had great examples of other things of not filling in the spaces. For example, Marianne had great pacing, great pausing, and great command of the stage. She did have 2 start overs, however. Christine, great structure to her speech, great pausing. Did not really hear much, except she did have 1 or 2 start overs. And lastly, we had Kai doing some repeated words. And lastly, I'll stop right there. If anyone wants to know anything else, just give me a buzz. I'll be happy to privately talk to you about it. Back to you.
Thank you, our counter, Dr. Andrew, and I'm really sorry about that. I used to have a check on certain life hacks, and one life hack says preparation is different from planning. When you plan, you fumble when there is a chaos. When you prepare, when you get prepared, you will be able to handle any kind of situation, even the chaos, the disaster, like this. Thank you for getting you on board at the last minute. Yes, the last supporting role is an important role where the Toastmaster relies on it, and it is the grammarian. Today's grammarian is Carrie Kong. Toastmaster Carrie Kong, the stage is all yours.
Thank you so much, Kavika. To substantiate my to substantiate the evidence of good usage of grammar, and I have to back up with statistics to substantiate it. Johnny has been using substantiate for 4 to 5 times, so she's the winner of today for our grammarian usage. And Allison was using it for 2 or 3 times, and all the other people like Andrew, Karthika, Johnny, Jean, myself, we all have used this word for at least once or twice. So congratulations. For other good language usages, I would like to say every single one of you, especially the speakers, you're all philosopher. I just couldn't imagine how you could come up with those wonderful phrases, and even it could be marked into the idiom use. So for Marianne, my husband is my rock. This is so touching, such a metaphor. And there are a lot of other good usage, such as piece together, truly enjoy your journey. Christine, you're such a philosopher and also a good use of languages. You use twinkle, tears, profound, every part, every game, intention, and the greatest gift is truly seeing them. Wow. Are you sure you're not using ChatGPT to write? Okay, maybe not. Johnny, you're like pull yourself up by the bootstrap. You use a lot of sound effect. You use some profound words such as detest, contemplate, empathy, heartbroken. So congratulations to all of you, like such like good language master. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Grammarian Carrico. I have been with Toastmasters for more than 2 years right now. By this time, every meeting is a new learning, and even today's meeting by the Grammarians report, there are a lot of learnings that we have. Okay, let's wind up today's meeting with my report. I have evaluated from my end on the basis of timeliness, orderliness, people's participation, and organization.
Madam General Evaluator, may I remind you that we're running over time, so please keep it brief if you can. Thank you.
That is my part, Toastmaster of the day, Andrew. Yeah. We started the meeting with our Sergeant of Arms with a melodious opening note expressing her true passion for Toastmasters. This is reflected in the way that she actually projects her in her video presentation. We online presenters are truly obliged to use any level of customization, any level of creativity in presenting us. And the Sergeant of Arms always does it with a melodious opening and the way that she presents virtually. Okay. Next, let me go moving forward with the presentation and organization. What really nailed in today's meeting? We had good quote for example, like the chat. In the chat, we had useful materials which is already shared by our DTM, Andrew Byrne, and we had good conversation moving forward. This is an energetic way of having a healthy conversation, a collaborative way of mingling with each other during the Toastmaster session. We have a creative way by our founding member who used to present the timer report. I just wanted to quickly share the way he generally does it. This is obviously an eye-catching moment where you can use any number of ways, though this is one way that he uses his creativity to showcase. He uses 3 different colors with the picturization, using the idiotic memory, the picturizing the memory which holds you for a long period of time. Moving forward with the table topics, we had a wonderful energetic table topic session, and the table topic master nailed it by asking to the guest, like, would you like to participate in today's meeting? This is exactly what is required to ease the guest, and we have good level of examples that could be quoted in today's meeting. The time management was well captured, capturing each moment of the speakers as well as the evaluators, making them qualified for the evaluation or making them qualified. This gives an overall presentation of today's session by the speakers and the evaluators a thumbs up and well done to them. Yes, what did not happen in today's meeting is nothing. We just have a good backup of whatever we should have in today's meeting. Let's wrap up with a round of applause to all the participants and the way the speakers are presented today. Moving forward, before I hand over the session to our president, I would like to ask the vote counter, David Carr, to announce the winner. David Carr, the stage is yours.
Yes, we have a few winners for table topics. Ba-da-dum. Sunny Fridge for evaluator. Hello. Femkins And for speaker, Marianne Grady. All the votes were very close, but congratulations to the winners and all the participants today.
Thank you, David. Let's all clap together to the winners of today. Hey, we had a great meeting today. We enjoyed today's online presenters meeting as usual. We did a gala. Yes, now it's time for us to invite our president to the virtual stage for her ending notes. Marianne Grady, the stage is all yours.